Ladies and gentlemen, my daughter, look at me. You are seen. You are seen by the one who formed you in the quiet. Before the world had the chance to label you, limit you, or try to define your worth, God already wrote your value in permanent ink. So I don't care who overlooked you, ignored your potential, or made you feel like you're invisible, because heaven never missed a moment of you. You hear me? I know. There were nights you cried with the pillow as your witness. You thought no one heard those tears. But God did. He did. And He didn't just hear them. He bottled every drop. You weren't just crying. You were praying. You didn't even know it. But your pain was talking directly to God, and He was listening. All of it, every ache. Let me tell you something real. Your pain is not a punishment. It's preparation. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that lonely road you've been walking, it's not wasted. Not with God. He's not building a weaker version of you. No, He's shaping a warrior, a woman of fire, a daughter who can walk through storms and still stand with grace. And baby girl, you are still standing. You've been called. That means you've been chosen. And you weren't chosen because you were perfect. You were chosen because you are His. God doesn't need perfection. He needs your yes. And I promise you, He's still writing your story. Just because it got dark doesn't mean it's over. Don't you dare quit in the middle. Listen to me. The enemy wants you to feel forgotten. But he's a liar. Always has been. You are seen. You are heard. You are loved deeply, eternally, fully. Don't believe the noise out there. Don't let your mistakes define your identity. They don't get to hold the pen. God does. So I want you to lift your head today, not because it's easy, but because it's true. You're still here. And that means there's more in you. More love, more life, more purpose. And God, He's walking every step with you. Even when you can't feel Him, He's carrying you. My daughter, this moment right here, it's not the end. It's a new beginning. So walk like you are seen, because you are. There are moments in life when the silence gets so loud, it drowns out every other sound. Moments where you sit alone, maybe in your room, maybe in your car, maybe with people all around you. Yet somehow you still feel invisible. You smile, you show up, you say the right things. But deep down, there's an ache you can't quite put into words. And the worst part, no one notices. No one checks. No one sees. But God does. God sees you in the silence. He sees the way you push through every single day. Even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. He sees the strength it takes for you to get out of bed when anxiety sits heavy on your chest. He sees the way you hold back your tears when everyone around you assumes you're okay. They don't see it. They don't catch the cracks in your smile. But God does. He doesn't need you to shout to hear your cry. He doesn't need you to explain your pain in paragraphs. He doesn't need the right lighting, the right filter, or the perfect performance. God sees what no one else can. He sees the truth behind the silence. He sees you in the stillness when you're lying awake at night asking questions you're too scared to say out loud. Why me? How long? What now? Do I matter? He hears it all, even when you say nothing. Because God's not like the rest. He's not distracted. He's not busy. He's not moving too fast to catch the quiet moments that define you. God doesn't miss the way your hands shake when you're trying to be strong. He sees the battle in your heart when you want to believe things will change, but you've been disappointed too many times. He sees it. He knows. And more than anything, He's with you in it. The silence you're sitting in is not empty. It's sacred. It's the space where God draws near. In that quiet space, where the world thinks nothing is happening, God is doing His most intimate work. He's restoring what the world tried to break. He's holding together what looks like it's falling apart. He's whispering truth to silence the lies. You might not feel Him. You might not see the change yet, but His presence isn't based on your feelings. It's based on His promise. And He promised He'd never leave you. The enemy wants you to believe that if no one sees you, you must not matter. That if no one notices your pain, it's not real. But that's a lie. God sees you. Not just the version of you that people applaud, not just the you that gets the job done, stays strong, and puts on the brave face. No, He sees the you underneath, the fragile, raw, breaking, hopeful you. And He loves you exactly there. You don't have to perform for God to notice you. He sees you when you break down in the shower, because that's the only place you feel safe enough to cry. He sees you when you sit in your car a little longer, dreading going inside, because the smile you wear is getting too heavy. He sees you when you're scrolling through social media wondering if you'll ever feel like you're enough. He sees you when you're too tired to pray, but your heart is screaming for help. Every sigh, every tear, every long stare into nothingness. He sees it. And not only does He see it, He understands it. There's something sacred about a God who sees and stays, not one who just observes from a distance, but one who steps into your silent spaces and surrounds you with peace. You might not get all the answers. You might not get the miracle when you want it. But you get Him. And when you get Him, you get everything. So no, you're not invisible. Not forgotten. Not abandoned. That silence you're sitting in, it's not a void. It's not wasted. It's seen by the one who matters most. Pain is something we try to avoid. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. And it doesn't make sense most of the time. When it hits, it feels unfair. Like we've been singled out. Like maybe something is wrong with us. And yet, pain is one of the most universal human experiences. No one escapes it. But here's the truth that changes everything. Your pain has purpose. Even when it feels random, even when it looks like a detour, even when it hurts so badly you can hardly breathe, there is something sacred being formed in you through the struggle. When you walk through pain, you start to see what really matters. You stop living on the surface. You stop pretending. Pain strips away the performance and exposes the truth. It humbles you. It teaches you what strength really is. Not the fake kind that looks good on the outside, but the real kind that gets you through sleepless nights and lonely mornings. The kind of strength that holds you together when everything around you is falling apart. That's the strength that's built in pain. No one signs up for it. No one says, give me heartbreak, or let me lose someone I love, or let me fail publicly. But these are the very moments that shape us, because in the pain we meet parts of ourselves we never knew were there. We find courage we didn't know we had. We learn how to stand, how to bend without breaking, how to find light even in the darkest corners. And when you come out on the other side, you're not the same person. You're deeper. You're wiser. You're softer in all the right places and tougher in all the places you need to be. Sometimes the very thing that looks like it's breaking you is the thing that's actually building you. Pain clarifies your vision. It reveals what's real. It shows you who's really there for you, what you truly value, and what kind of character you're carrying inside. You don't learn that in comfort. You learn it in the fire. That's where the gold is refined. That's where the impurities rise to the surface. That's where you begin to see the version of yourself God always saw in you. There's a reason some of the most compassionate, wise, and impactful people you'll ever meet have also been through the most pain. Because they didn't waste it. They let it change them. They let it teach them. They let it push them into purpose. The pain became the very thing that gave them a voice, a calling, a depth of soul that can't be faked. That's what purpose does with pain. It transforms it. You see, we live in a world that tells us everything should come quickly, easily, and pain-free. But growth doesn't happen without pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure. Trees sink their roots deep in the middle of storms. Muscles grow when they're torn and repaired. And your soul, it matures when it walks through valleys. You may not see it while you're in the middle of it, but there is something being developed in you that is eternal. God doesn't waste anything. Not even the tears you cried in secret. Not the betrayal that broke your heart. Not the waiting that tested your patience. Not the failure that shook your confidence. Every part of your story, even the painful ones, are part of the masterpiece He's writing. Pain might be the chapter you're in, but it's not the whole book. It's a scene, not the ending. It's the soil where something beautiful is getting ready to grow. And yes, sometimes pain lasts longer than we want it to. Sometimes it doesn't resolve the way we hoped. But even in that, purpose lives. Because the version of you that rises from the ashes is not only stronger, you're more equipped to help someone else. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Your scars become someone else's reminder that healing is possible. What hurt you can now heal someone else. There's a divine design to it all. A pattern you may not be able to trace yet, but one that's forming something meaningful behind the scenes. You may not have chosen the pain, but you get to choose what you do with it. And if you lean in, if you trust that somehow, some way, this moment is not the end, but part of a process, then the pain becomes a seed. A beginning, a birth of something greater, something with purpose. There's a feeling that creeps in when the days go by and nothing changes. When you're doing your best, giving what you have, but it still feels like you're unseen. Like your prayers are hitting a ceiling, like the world is moving forward without you. That feeling whispers, maybe you're forgotten. Maybe you slipped through the cracks. Maybe your life, your effort, your existence doesn't really matter as much as you thought. And that feeling, it can be heavy. It can make you doubt your purpose, your value, even your faith. But here's the truth. Whether you feel it right now or not, you are not forgotten. It might feel like God is silent, but His silence is not His absence. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean He isn't working behind the scenes. Just because you haven't seen the breakthrough doesn't mean He's not building something better than what you asked for. You are seen. You are held, and your name is known in heaven. You are not a face in the crowd to God. You're not just another person getting through the day. You are His. He hasn't taken His eyes off you for a moment. You are not the mistake someone else made. You are not the label someone else gave you. You are not the product of a forgotten past or a failed plan. You are chosen. You are designed. You are here on purpose, even if you don't yet understand the reason. God doesn't make accidents. If you are breathing, you are here with meaning. The waiting season you're in isn't proof of abandonment. It's proof of preparation. God doesn't forget the ones He's preparing. When others don't call, when the room goes quiet, when you're doing good things that no one notices, God notices. He sees your effort, your heart, your intention. He sees when you forgive even though it hurts. He sees when you stay kind, even when it feels thankless. He sees you showing up with integrity when it would be easier to give up. And while the world might never give you applause for those choices, heaven honors them. God sees what is done in secret, and He promises it will never go unseen. You may look around and see people moving ahead, relationships forming, opportunities rising for everyone but you. And it can feel like God's forgotten your name. But comparison is a thief. It steals your peace. It clouds your view. You're not on their path, and they're not on yours. God's timing for your life is tailor-made. When the right door opens, it will be yours and yours alone. No striving, no forcing, just grace. You don't have to fight for God's attention. You already have it. You are not forgotten. You might carry a story you've never told, a weight you've held for so long you don't even know what it would feel like to live without it. And part of you wonders if God overlooked the pain, if maybe your suffering wasn't big enough to matter. But all pain matters to a loving Father. There is no wound too small for His care. There is no moment too hidden for His compassion. He collects every tear. He holds every cry. He stands in every shadow, waiting to lead you back to the light. Even when you feel distant, even when shame tells you you're too far gone, even when guilt says you should have known better, God still says, I know you. I see you. I love you. There is no failure that makes Him forget you. There is no silence that makes Him stop listening. You don't have to earn your way back to Him. You were never out of His sight to begin with. And yes, life can be unfair. Some things will never make sense this side of eternity. But in the confusion, in the heartbreak, in the delay, you are still remembered. God hasn't lost track of you. He hasn't shelved your story. He hasn't rerouted His love. His plan for you is not canceled because of a bad chapter. It's still unfolding even now. Sometimes the greatest miracles come after the longest waiting. Sometimes the most profound purpose is born from the deepest pain. And sometimes the most beautiful parts of your story begin the moment you realize you were never forgotten to begin with. There are seasons in life where you look around and wonder why everyone else seems to be moving ahead while you feel stuck. People are getting promoted, recognized, chosen for things you've prayed about in private, and it can start to feel like maybe you've been overlooked. Maybe they saw someone else's talent and skipped over your potential. Maybe your quiet obedience wasn't loud enough. Maybe your name just didn't come up. That ache of feeling unseen, of being passed over, can settle deep into your soul if you let it. But here's what you need to know. You were never overlooked. You were chosen. Before anyone else had an opinion about your value, God had already spoken over you. Before the rejection, before the silence, before the moment that made you question your worth, God had already called you His. His choosing has nothing to do with popularity, platform, or public approval. He chose you in love, on purpose, and with intention. You're not a backup plan. You're not an afterthought. You are part of something divine, and delays in your life are not evidence of God forgetting you. They are evidence of God preparing you. Being chosen doesn't always feel glamorous. It doesn't always come with applause or instant validation. In fact, sometimes being chosen looks like being hidden for a season. It looks like being refined in the quiet places where no one is watching. It's in those quiet places that character is forged, roots go deep, and faith is made real. The world may never understand the value of what's happening in that space, but God does. He doesn't need you to prove yourself. He already knows what's in you because He put it there. You might not be the loudest voice in the room. You might not have the spotlight or the stage. But favor isn't always visible. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it's working beneath the surface, moving in ways you don't even see yet. Being chosen means you are part of a process. And process takes time. It takes surrender. It takes trust when there's no evidence to back it up. But in the waiting, in the wondering, in the places where you question if you're enough, God is reminding you again and again that His choosing is not temporary. It's eternal. No one else's success can cancel your assignment. No one else getting what you hoped for means you missed your chance. The lane God made for you is yours, and when it's time, nothing and no one will be able to stop what's meant to be yours. You weren't chosen by accident, and you can't be unchosen by human opinion. The doors that are yours will open not because you forced them to, but because God holds the keys. He sees the whole picture. He knows what's on the other side of your yes, and that's what He's after, your yes. There are people in this world who will never understand the depth of your calling. They won't see your worth, and they might even treat you like you're ordinary. But you don't need everyone to choose you. You just need to remember that God already did. And when He chooses you, He equips you. He gives you exactly what you need for the road ahead, even if you don't feel ready, even if you don't feel qualified. His choice isn't based on your perfection. It's based on His purpose. You're not too late. You haven't missed your moment. The timeline you thought you were supposed to be on might not be what God is using. And that's okay, because His plans are not only higher than yours, they're better, more complete, more beautiful than you could ask or imagine. And they include you, all of you, your pain, your passion, your past. Nothing disqualifies you when God says, I still choose you. So when you feel overlooked, when you feel like the world has passed you by, remember who called you. Remember who formed you. Remember who breathed life into you and set you apart. It wasn't the crowd. It wasn't the culture. It wasn't the ones who couldn't see your light. It was the Creator of the universe. And He doesn't make mistakes. He chooses with love. He chooses with vision. He chooses with destiny in mind. You were not overlooked. You were appointed. anointed, sent. You were chosen. Storms come into our lives without warning. They shake the ground beneath our feet, darken the skies above, and sometimes threaten to tear everything apart. When you're in the middle of a storm, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, helpless, and alone. The wind howls, the rain beats down, and the lightning flashes with an intensity that can make your heart race with fear. But storms aren't just moments of destruction. They are proof of strength. They are not the end of the story, but a powerful chapter in the making of who you are. The truth is, strength isn't something you were born with in full bloom. It's forged in the fires of challenge and adversity. Like a tree standing tall through a thunderstorm, strength is grown by facing the winds that want to break you. Every gust that tries to knock you down is met with roots digging deeper, grounding you in who you really are. It's in those moments when the storm rages that your true resilience is revealed. Not because the storm is easy to endure, but because you choose to stand in spite of it. Storms test more than just your physical endurance. They test your faith, your hope, and your courage. They stretch you beyond what you thought possible and force you to find a part of yourself you didn't know existed. When life breaks you down, when circumstances seem unfair and the path ahead is unclear, that's when you learn what strength really means. It's not just about muscle or willpower. It's about the quiet decision to keep moving forward even when everything inside you screams to stop. Every person who has ever accomplished something great has faced storms. No success story is free from trials. The difference is in how those storms were faced. Some people give up. Some people let the storm define them. But the strongest rise above it. They become proof that storms don't destroy. They refine. They don't defeat. They develop. Storms separate the temporary from the eternal, the shallow from the deep, the weak from the strong. And here's the thing, storms don't last forever. The thunder will quiet, the rain will stop, and the sun will break through the clouds again. But what stays with you is the strength you gained while you were standing in the storm, the fear you faced and overcame, the tears you shed and healed, the faith you held on to even when it seemed impossible. That strength becomes a part of your story, a testimony to your resilience, and a beacon to others who are still fighting their own storms. Storms also reveal what's truly important. When everything around you is shaking, distractions fall away. You see what matters. You realize who matters. You discover your true priorities and what you're willing to stand for. That clarity only comes when the noise quiets and the storm forces you to focus on the essentials. You might lose some things in the storm, but you gain something much greater: perspective. Strength isn't about never breaking. It's about breaking and still getting up. It's about feeling worn out and still pressing on. It's about pain, struggle, and sacrifice, and choosing to keep going anyway. That's the strength that storms build inside of you. Not a false, brittle strength, but a deep, steady power that roots you in purpose and moves you forward with courage. When you think about the storms you've already survived, you realize you're stronger than you thought. The battles you fought, the losses you endured, the challenges you overcame, they weren't just obstacles. They were proving grounds. They were the classroom where strength was taught and learned. And now that you've made it through those storms, you carry that strength with you everywhere you go. No matter how hard the wind blows, no matter how fierce the rain falls, you have within you the strength to stand firm. Storms don't define you, but they do prove you. They prove your capacity to endure, to grow, and to triumph. And that's a truth you can hold on to every time the sky darkens and the thunder rolls. Because storms are not just challenges, they are the undeniable proof of your strength. There are moments in life when you feel completely alone, like you're carrying a burden too heavy for one person to bear. When you cry out and hear nothing in response, when the silence feels deafening, it's easy to believe that God is distant, far away in some unreachable place. But the truth is far different. God is closer than you think, closer than the breath you take, closer than the beat of your heart. He's not somewhere off in the distance watching from afar. He's right here, right now, beside you in every moment. God's closeness isn't measured by how loudly you pray or how often you go to church. It's not about religious rituals or perfect words. It's about His presence, a presence that's always with you, even when you can't feel it. It's like the air around you, invisible but vital, constant, but unnoticed until you stop to breathe deeply and become aware. You don't have to search for Him in faraway places. He's closer than your next heartbeat. Sometimes life storms cloud your vision, making it hard to sense God's nearness. When pain, loss, or disappointment press in, it's natural to feel isolated. But God never leaves you alone in those dark places. In fact, those are the very moments He draws nearest. When you can't see Him, He sees you. When you can't hear Him, He's listening. When you can't find the strength to stand, He's holding you up. His nearness is not dependent on your circumstances. It's a promise that stands firm regardless of what you face. There's a beautiful truth in the idea that God is Emmanuel, God with us. Not just watching us from a distance, but walking with us step by step through every season. Whether you're celebrating victories or facing heartbreak, God is there. He's closer than the whisper of a prayer, closer than the tears you shed in secret, closer than the hope you're barely holding on to. His presence is constant even when your heart feels like it's far away from Him. God's closeness also means that you're never beyond His reach. No mistake is too big, no failure too great, no sin too dark for His love to find you. When you feel the most unworthy, when you think you've strayed too far, He is still there, ready to embrace you with open arms. His nearness is not about perfection. It's about unconditional love. It's about a Father who refuses to let you go no matter how lost you feel. Sometimes the distance we feel isn't because God has moved away, but because we've built walls around our hearts. Fear, guilt, shame, and doubt can all act as barriers that block us from sensing His presence. But God is patient. He waits for us to lower those walls and invites us to come closer. And when we do, we discover that He was never really far. He's been there all along, waiting for us to realize how near He is. God's closeness also shows up in the small, everyday moments. It's in the unexpected kindness of a stranger, the beauty of a sunset, the laughter of a child, the quiet peace that fills your soul when you stop rushing and just breathe. These moments are not accidents. They are reminders that God is present in the details of your life. He is working behind the scenes, weaving a tapestry of grace and love that you can't always see, but can trust is there. There are times when you might feel like giving up, when the weight of the world feels too heavy and the road ahead seems impossible. But God's closeness is your anchor. It's the unshakable truth that holds you steady when everything else is falling apart. Knowing that He is near gives you courage to face another day, hope to believe in new beginnings, and strength to keep going even when the way is hard. In those quiet moments when doubt creeps in, when the noise of life threatens to drown out your faith, remember this: God is closer than you think, closer than the pain you feel, closer than the fears that try to hold you back, closer than the loneliness that surrounds you. He is here, always near, always loving, always ready to meet you where you are. You don't have to climb mountains or cross oceans to find Him. You don't have to have all the answers or live a perfect life to experience His presence. God is right here, closer than your next breath, waiting patiently for you to reach out and know that you are never alone. Life is a journey, not a destination. And no matter how far you've come or how much you've been through, the truth is simple: you are still becoming. You are a work in progress, a masterpiece in the making. There's a tendency in our culture to want instant results, to want to have it all figured out, to want to be done with growth, pain, and change. But the reality is growth is a lifelong process. You're not broken because you're not perfect yet. You're human because you're still becoming. Sometimes we look at others who seem more confident, more successful, more put together, and we compare our messy, unfinished selves to their highlight reels. We forget that everyone is still on their own path of becoming. No one arrives fully formed or flawless. Every person you admire has struggled, stumbled, and grown through seasons of uncertainty and change. Becoming is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up each day and choosing to be better than you were yesterday, no matter how small the steps. The process of becoming is not always comfortable. It's often marked by discomfort, challenge, and sometimes even pain. When you're becoming, you're shedding old layers, old habits, old mindsets, old fears that no longer serve you. That process can feel like loss, but it's actually gain. It's the clearing away of what's holding you back so that the best version of you can emerge. And that takes time, patience, and a willingness to be vulnerable. You might be tempted to rush through this process, to force change on your own timeline. But becoming happens in its own season. Trying to skip steps or hurry the journey often leads to frustration or setbacks. The key is to embrace where you are right now, knowing that this moment, imperfect as it may be, is an essential part of your story. Every challenge you face, every failure you endure, every lesson you learn is shaping you into who you're meant to be. It's important to celebrate the small victories along the way. Growth is often invisible from the outside, but it's happening inside you. Maybe you're learning to forgive yourself. Maybe you're developing more patience. Maybe you're discovering your own worth apart from others' opinions. These shifts might not make headlines, but they are profound. They are proof that you are still becoming, still evolving, still moving forward. Becoming also means embracing your unique journey without comparing it to others. Your timeline is different. Your experiences are different. Your purpose, if the things you're learning now may not make sense yet, but trust that they are necessary for your growth. Sometimes the things that seem like detours are really part of the path. Sometimes the obstacles are the very things that teach you strength, resilience, and faith. The idea that you are still becoming can be freeing. It means you don't have to have it all figured out today. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You get to keep growing, learning, and discovering who you are meant to be. Life is not about reaching a final destination, but about becoming more fully yourself with each passing day. When you accept that you are still becoming, it also changes how you see setbacks and failures. They're no longer signs that you're broken or defeated, but opportunities to learn and grow. Each mistake is a lesson, each failure a step forward in disguise. The journey of becoming includes times of falling down and getting back up. It includes moments of doubt and fear, but also moments of courage and hope. You are a creation that is continually unfolding, evolving, and expanding. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are today, and the person you will be tomorrow is still waiting to be revealed. This truth invites patience, not just with life, but with yourself. It encourages grace for the parts of you that are still a work in progress. It reminds you that growth is not linear, and that's okay. No matter where you are in your journey, no matter how long you've been walking your path, remember this: you are still becoming. You are still growing, still learning, still healing. Your story is far from over, and every chapter brings you closer to the fullness of who you are meant to be. So keep moving forward with hope and courage, knowing that becoming is the most beautiful part of your journey. In every step of your journey, remember that you are never finished, never set in stone. You are a beautiful work in progress, constantly growing, healing, and evolving into the person you were always meant to be. Embrace the process with patience and grace, knowing that every challenge, every setback, and every moment of doubt is shaping you for something greater. Your story is still unfolding, and with each day, you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more whole. Keep moving forward with hope, courage, and the faith that your best is yet to come.